Here, world's greatest team. Gonna have Sage Watson coming on very. I knew her when she was at Florida State competing in the ACC before she transferred out to Arizona, and we will get her on here in a second. Let's see, and we'll get rolling. Sage, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you doing?
Ah, man, I can't be better. I can't be better.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to do this. I thought I love how you've been interviewing athletes and we get to hear their stories and what they've been doing. I think it's such a great thing to do right now.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm drinking a little beef bone broth, uh, and that might be a good segue into when you said you needed to postpone from we were going to have you on Friday, but you were
hmm
doing something involving beef, huh?
Yeah, so yesterday we had our branding, and pretty much branding is you're putting like your mark on your cattle. So we just finished calving season. So we just branded all our cattle. We also vaccinate, and we just like check up. It's pretty much like a health checkup before they go out to pasture. And so today they went out to pasture. So it was a fun day yesterday. It was a long day. We worked 13 hours.
Wow. So, okay. So when you
Yeah.
say brand, so talk to me about branding. I'm
hmm
definitely not a cowboy by any stretch of the imagination. So what are you having to do? And I would think most people just, would look at you and go, she's branding cattle? Like, that's crazy.
I know. I know. I tell people like, oh, I live on a ranch. They're like, oh, okay. But I'm like, no, like I really live on a cattle ranch. Like we do that kind of stuff. So pretty much we had 180 calves to brand yesterday. So we run them all through. We give them their vaccinations, which is really important. And then, we check up on them. We give them, like, some of them need a CCIA tag, so that's just like an identification tag.
Okay.
And then we put our brand on them, which is, it's pretty much like, I don't know, getting a tattoo. So they get tattooed.
Really?
Yeah, so and branding is actually just it's been done for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. I'm not sure the history of branding, but it's pretty much so nobody can steal your cattle.
Wow. I mean, I would say, like, I mean, that's probably something that, you as an athlete, most people probably wouldn't know that about you. That, that
No,
you lived on
people,
a
yeah,
ranch.
people don't know that I do this kind of stuff.
No, I mean, how long have you lived on the ranch?
So, we've had my family's been running our ranch for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up on a ranch, when I lived here. Like currently I'm actually home in southern Alberta. I live in Tucson, Arizona, but
Right.
I'm home in southern Alberta with my family right now. So we've been running it for many years. We run Angus and some Galvi cattle. So yeah, if you ever like see like a type of animal like they have fresh Angus steaks, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
type of breed of cattle.
Wait, I'll tell you what, I've been fascinated by, I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show Yellowstone.
No, I haven't. I've heard such great
Oh,
things.
it got me thinking. I mean, as soon as you said that to me, that's the first thing that went into my mind. If you had never watched that show, I mean, I love Kevin Costner. So, I
Huh.
mean, he does, and I'd be curious to see how close, you know, how they do the TV show to real life as it might be. So, in this quarantine time, you might have to, check Yellowstone out and binge watch it.
I think I do. Yeah, I definitely need to check that out. I honestly like haven't, everybody's been getting caught up on Netflix. The only thing I've got caught up on Netflix, I finally watched Lord of the Rings with my brother. That's about it. I haven't been watching a lot of Netflix.
Well, you've been training.
Yeah, I've been training and I've been branding.
So what's the weather been like in southern Alberta?
It has been quite a cool spring. We've been having on and off snow. I know a lot of places have been kind of struggling with winter right now, but finally it's starting to warm up. So it's getting into the 50s now, but it was, 30s or below. And I'm talking Fahrenheit. For my Celsius people out there, that it was, it was getting down to like -10, and then it would get like up to +10. Yeah, it's just
little different
crazy.
weather than Tucson.
I really miss my Arizona weather, especially right now, because right now is the good time in Arizona. It's the time where it gets warm, but it's not too hot. And then we get into summertime, which, hopefully I'll be going back within the next few months to Arizona, and it's just going to be hot.
So saying, you're doing things remotely, and Fred Harvey, who's your coach, who's, I'll give him a plug. Fred is one of the nicest, sincere guys I've ever met in my life in coaching. Always seems like he has the best out for his athletes. And so what are, doing things telecommunication wise, what are some of the workouts you're able to do up there in preparation? Because, you've got to stay prepared, because if the season starts rolling back, you got to be ready. So what are you doing?
Luckily, I got my hands on some weights, so I set up my own little weight room in our shop. I had some rubber mats, and I just set up the weights there. I've been doing a lot of running on the gravel road.
Okay.
And then I've gotten to go to the, I've showed that. I've got to actually go to, because I live in Medicine Hat, where I'm from. There's only 80,000 people. We haven't been really hit that hard by this virus. So there's lots of social distancing going on, but they haven't shut down things like the track, which I'm extremely grateful for. And I know some athletes have been able to get onto tracks as well. So I've been able to get onto the track, which I feel lucky to do. But mostly, getting all that in. I had a time trial on Friday, which was fun. I wasn't looking forward to it because I'm used to like running time trials when it's nice and warm and it was cold and windy, but I got it done.
What was the time trial?
It was 2 300s. Yeah, it was two 300s.
Okay.
And my first one, I was actually happy with my first one. It was race pace. I was happy. Okay, I'm going to say this. I was happy for how cold and windy it was for the time I ran. I ran 37.5. So I was okay with that. And then 20 minutes later, it got even colder and windier. I don't know how. I scheduled to run this, but I ended up running 38, I think my 38.4. So my mom came out to the track and she videoed me. And then I sent it to Coach Harvey, and he did the dartfish on it to get the exact times. He's not about like, let's just look at and see what you run. He's like, I'm going to get the exact time. So I love that about him.
That's awesome. What are some other things that you had to kind of get creative with when it comes to training when you don't have what you normally have? I
think the most thing I've had to get not creative but do a lot of my own is rehab, prehab, and physio work. And I think that's one of the biggest things as athletes that we've taken for granted, like being able to go to a massage therapist, being able to go to our physiotherapist who, as pro athletes, we usually see them, once to twice a week, maybe even more. So I really miss my physios. But I've been doing, self-massage. I have a Normatec. I've been, doing all my foam rolling, all my mobility drills. That's one thing I've had to stay on top of more is doing all my mobility stuff on my own before I work out. I used to just go to my physio and, did mobility and then go work out. But now it's like, no, you have to make sure you do this and then go get your training in. That's just one of those little things that makes a big difference in training.
So has Canada? I mean, Great Britain had just came out and said they're going to do their national championship the first weekend in August. Has Canada come
Oh
out and
wow.
given you guys any indication or anything?
Not yet. I don't know if they will. I haven't heard anything yet. That would be cool. That would be something to look
Yeah,
forward to.
for sure. I mean, I know. I
Yeah,
mean,
I would definitely look to have a date.
talking to Justa Knight earlier, he kind of
Hmm.
mentioned that he was a little upset, not trying to stir up controversy or anything, but he said he was a little upset just with the communication. Said like, hey, like,
Hmm.
no one told us, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden we're not going to the Olympics. What
Yeah.
emotions ran through you when that kind of happened? Because as an athlete, I mean, I would have been shocked.
Yeah. I was extremely lucky. Gonna bring up Coach Harvey again. He saw it before I did. So he actually called me to tell me. And I'm so grateful that my coach, I heard it from my coach versus having to read it on Twitter. Because I really think, and I heard this is what they did with Team Australia, is that they notified them the day before that they were going to make the announcement.
Mm.
And then they made the announcement. I'm
Yeah,
not positive on those
sure.
details, but I heard something like that. I wish that they could have done that with Team Canada, is say, like, send out an email. Dear, like, possible Tokyo athletes, we are going to be pulling Team Canada out for these reasons. Official announcement will be made tomorrow. They made the announcement here for me here. It was 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday night. So just the most, crazy time. I knew it was coming. I didn't expect it to come like that though.
Right.
So it wasn't a surprise, but I didn't expect it to come out like that.
Sure. I mean, maybe that's one of the things that you as an athlete. I think athletes are starting to be more more in the forefront. I know Christian Taylor has really tried to
Oh
bring
yeah.
athlete
Hmm.
association around,
Which
and
has been amazing.
it's what athletes need. I mean, NFL has
Yeah,
their
we really
players
needed that.
association, Major League Baseball, everything. Track and field needs to do that, and it's something that afterwards that you guys could push forth to Canada and say, hey, we just need some
Hmm.
more communication. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you coming from being a college athlete know how important the communication factor is.
Oh yeah.
In this kind of situation, kind of leaves itself to that.
Right. And I'm still a volunteer assistant coach with Arizona. So I'm in the loop with how they coach the athletes, and the program there. And like you said, in college athletics, like you were notified like weeks before or
Right.
something's gonna happen, and that's something I really didn't realize that was gonna happen with Team Canada, but we're notified like, hey, this is coming down the pipeline. Be prepared. We've had talks like this. So yeah, I think it, and a lot of people actually thought I was upset about the postponement.
Right.
But I wasn't. I was upset the way, like you said, like the way it was announced, and me and Justin kind of bonded over that. We were messaging each other back and forth. I'm like, are you getting hate messages too? And he's like, yeah, me too. Because people thought we were mad that it was getting postponed. We're like, no, we're not mad about anything. We're just thinking, how this was brought up via social media and the announcement. I just
Right.
didn't think it was for the best for everybody. But like I said, it needed to be postponed, and I'm happy it was. I just wish it was brought about differently.
Well, and I think that's the negatives of social media is the
Hmm.
context that people take out of it because you don't get to see the real emotions. But you guys are also, I mean, the Canadian record holder in the 400 hurdles. Everybody wants to stir up controversy if they can.
Yeah, I had a crazy amount of interview requests actually because right when I found out, I tweeted something. I said, to quote myself, I said, I think it's a little premature for
Right.
Canada to be dropping out right now. And I had reporters calling me that night on a Sunday night.
Of course.
I was like, oh, what did I say? And I was like, I should have
Right.
just went to bed and made a tweet tomorrow because I mean, as athletes, we get heated and sometimes anybody, you get heated and you tweet something, but I've learned as an athlete, if I'm upset about something, sleep on it. If you want to post it tomorrow, post it. But I decided to just post it right then.
That honestly is some unbelievable advice for not only athletes, but anybody that has the quick fingers, quick
Yeah.
thumbs with social media.
Yeah,
Hey,
I say like put it in your notes, like write it out, put
right,
it in your notes on your phone or wherever,
right.
and then you can just copy and paste it if it really means that much to you the next day. But if you wake up the next day and you're like, oh, no, I don't feel that way anymore, then you've saved yourself some trouble.
That's good advice. Hey, we've got Sage Watson, the Canadian record holder in the 400 hurdles on Justa Cup on World's Greatest Team. If you have any questions for Sage, just put it in the comment section down below. We'll get to answering. And Bob asked a great question. He said, I mean, how many NBA players you think can brand a cattle?
Okay, you need to know what you're doing. So, I mean, if we taught everybody what they're doing, might take 4 to 5, 6. But you have to be like, no, like you got to know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, it's just going to be a mess. So if they knew what they were doing, I'm sure they're strong enough to get it done.
What's the craziest thing that's happened when you were branded a cattle before?
Um, oh my goodness, there's so many crazy things. Oh, I don't know if anything's crazy. I put a tag on backwards yesterday. That sucked.
So what
I
does
like
that
so
mean? You put a
you're
tag on.
so I like they're like a little tag. They're like a identification number tag, and it
Okay.
stays with the cow for the rest of their life.
Oh, wow.
So my mom gave me the job, and she's like, "Don't mess this up." And I was doing fine, and then because I was also helping load needles for vaccinations, so I
Okay.
was more focused on like dosages and stuff like that, versus putting the ear tag in. And then I put it in, and I looked at it, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, I just put this tag on backwards." And I told my dad, he's like, well, it's going to be there for the rest of their life now.
Wow. That's rough. Hey, we got a bunch of different questions coming in. Sammy, Brendan22 says, do you miss not having training partners?
Yes, definitely. I've now started using music as my training partner. So before I'm about to run like a big rep, I'll put on like a good pump up song, versus when you have a training partner, you're like, come on, let's get it, let's dig deep. You're just used to that communication. So when you're training by yourself, you don't have that communication. And it's not as fun. I know a lot of athletes, like we like to joke when we're warming up, talk about stuff, and, it kind of keeps it lighthearted. When you're
Right.
going to train by yourself, you're like just focused on what you're doing, and it's not as fun. But I try to make it fun with music and, listening to something.
So give us one of those songs. What's a pump up song for Sage?
Oh, so I like Drake. Anything I like Meek Mill, pump up song. I like I kind of like just right now I'm on this dance hip hop like remixes thing going
Okay.
on. So I just put on my Spotify, and I like when like a new song pops up, because you're so used to like listening to songs on repeat. But I have my like warm up and race playlist that I stick
Right.
to. And I just do that for pre-race, so I'm not messing with my music. I'm just focused on warming up.
Right.
So I do have my playlist. Sometimes I play that before like a really hard practice. I'll pretend like I'm getting focused for a race.
Right.
And then listening to those songs I would listen to before a race kind of gets me in
Mm-hmm.
that race mentality, which helps my training some days.
Well, you guys you've got a great training group down in Tucson, if
Yeah.
I know correctly. What's
hmm
it like with the other individuals that you're training with?
Yeah, so I train with another professional 400 hurdler, Georgianne Moline. She's ran for Team USA. And then I train with the U of A athletes as well. So we've been really lucky. We have a great team, a great group of athletes down there. It's really nice. So I've trained with some guy 400 hurdlers who are on the team. They help push me in practice. So we got a great group. And there's also some 800 guys. So it's a really great group we have.
Is there a little rivalry between you and Georgine a little bit?
I don't say like a rivalry, but we definitely push each other a lot in practice, which is really good. I went to the U of A. She was already a professional athlete when I went to the U of A.
Right.
So it was nice to see what the professional athlete life looks like through her. I definitely really appreciated that aspect of having to train with a pro while I was in college.
That's awesome. So, question for you: what about Coach Harvey? You know, sold you on Arizona, not just as a school, but to continue training there after you were done.
He's just an amazing person. I don't know how else to put it. If you know anybody who talks to him, like he's such a nice guy. But I think what sold me is, I really didn't want to leave Florida State. I loved Florida State. I loved FSU, but there's just some coaching changes going on, and they weren't going to hire somebody specific like who was going to coach the 400 hurdles.
Right.
And it was about to be the Olympic year in 2016. So I was like, you know what? I really need to make a move and find a hurdle coach. So I started looking and I came across Coach Harvey. And just hearing his knowledge about hurdling, his experiences he's had, his athletes he's coached. But most of all, what I loved about him is he wasn't like, oh, you're great, you're going to do great things. He was like, you're good, but there's a lot of things I can help you with. There's a lot of things that you can fix. And hearing that my weaknesses like would eventually become my strengths and get fixed was what motivated me really to go to Arizona.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Man, you got people on right now. I'm seeing a thing from Chile and Brazil and Japan and the United States and Canada. Little worldwide love you got going on right now.
I know. I love getting on here and staying connected with people from the world. I think that's the greatest thing about social media.
Oh, absolutely. It's fun. I get excited when I see all these different people that are following us.
Yeah.
Justa Cup, Sage Watson, world's greatest team. And we're answering some questions. S.A. Martin asks, how does training look now when you don't know when the next race is?
That's tricky. So when I left Arizona, we're getting ready to race. So we were in kind of like a speed power phase.
Okay.
We've stayed in that phase a little bit, not as intense. I think we've brought down the intensity a little bit, but we've mostly stayed, we're doing lots of plyo still, weightlifting still. We're gonna go through the cycle, even though we're not peaking for a race right now, we're still gonna go through the same type of training cycle as we would on a normal year, just so my body's ready for next year, if that makes sense.
No, that makes complete sense. Because I mean, if you've got and as a professional athlete, you're sometimes you don't know when that next race is going to be. So that's
yeah, exactly.
Great opportunity, great mindset.
Yeah, and sometimes as a pro athlete, you get a call. You're like, "Hey, can you be in Europe this weekend?" And you're like, "Sure, I can be there."
Right. Absolutely. So out of the traveling, because I mean, track and field is so unique compared to other sports. NBA, you're in the United States or Canada, and football and so forth. Track and field, you go all over the world. What's the top 3 favorite places you've got to travel to?
I love Japan. Japan's my number 1 favorite spot I've got to travel to.
It's a good thing with Tokyo being 21 now.
I know. I was so looking forward to going to Japan this year. I just really love Japan. I think the people are amazing. I love the culture. I just get a good feeling every time I go there. I really enjoy Belgium, actually.
We just had somebody up for Belgium, too.
No, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Belgium. Love, love, love Belgium. Third place. I don't know where my next place would be.
Zurich, London, the Caribbean.
London, yeah, London. You know what? I haven't been to any Caribbean island.
Oh, man.
I know. I was supposed to go this year for some races, and I was like, finally, and then they got canceled, and now I have to wait another year, I guess.
Slightly different than Alberta. Just
slightly. A lot different.
So you're up in Canada. Is there anything food wise you miss during this quarantine time that you can't get right now?
I really love. Honestly, my favorite thing to do is to go out and eat at restaurants. That's like that's a hobby, I would consider that my hobby. I love trying out new restaurants and just the experience of going out somewhere. So I really miss just, I'm sure everybody does. I just miss going to a restaurant
Absolutely.
and just sitting down, and looking at a menu and not having to plan what you're going to eat or your own food. But yeah, I just miss any restaurant right now. That's what I miss.
Are you a coffee girl? You
Yes,
drink?
I'm big time coffee.
What's the best coffee shop to visit in Tucson?
Oh, there's this one cafe. It's a great food spot too. It's called La Buzz. And La Buzz, yeah, Lebuzz, or ZZ, however we want to go here, the Canadian American thing. But they're a scratch kitchen, so their food's amazing, but their coffee is great. They have a latte. It's a honey lavender latte. And I don't really like sweet drinks, and it's just got like a hint of honey and lavender. It's so good. I'm actually gonna get kind of getting sad like talking about that right now. I didn't realize I missed it till you brought it up.
Hey, Beth, I'm getting your mind thinking you're
Yes.
in quarantine and getting your mind thinking of
Mm-hmm.
that. I mean, it's awesome. What's going to be the first thing that you're going to do when things open back up?
The first thing, I'll probably get on a plane to go back to Arizona, but that's the first thing. Not that I love my family and I love being here. I'm not taking that for granted or anything, but I definitely just miss, being in Arizona and training and, getting back to like normal life working ways, I guess.
Is there something that you guys are doing as a family together that's been kind of special, other than branding cattle?
Yeah. We eat dinner together every night, so we always have family dinner. We take turns, picking who wants what night. So that's something really special. We all get together and we help make dinner and we eat it together.
That's awesome.
We've been playing cards. Yeah, and then just working on the ranch together. But yeah, I think dinner has been really nice to all get together and have a meal.
That's awesome, man. Well, Sage, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate
Thank you.
You're definitely a special one without question, and your career is just beginning. And
I hope so. I hope it still keeps going.
No question.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks again. Justa Cup.
Thank you.
We are going to be on all next week. Next week is going to be throws week. All throws. All week.
Nice.
We're going to have a bunch of different folks. Ryan Krauser is going to be on. We've got coaches from Jamaica and India, and Coach Parkinson from Canada is going to be on.
Oh,
so
really?
We're kind of going global with next week with the throws week.
That's so awesome. I just wanted to say thank you for doing what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
It's amazing. You're connecting people, you're connecting athletes, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. World's Greatest is about the athletes. That's what we're trying to do, giving you guys exposure as much as possible. So spread the word, follow us, and we'll have a bunch more athletes on. Sage, have a great one.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Bye.